Welcome back to the channel. Now, this video is very different. During the draft process, I usually just, whenever it's the time to draft players, I just show you player cards of each player and their pros and cons, but you do not see them beforehand. This season I want to be a little bit different. We will be going into our 9th off season, going into our 10th season next season. And so I want to show you guys as almost like a reintroduction to the series, starting with season 10. With this off season, I want to show you guys the draft prospects going into this draft, okay? And yes, I am fighting a cold. I'm just starting to get sick, so if I sound different, that's what's going on. I'm gonna pull up on the video the player card, and I'm not gonna strictly say everyone's rating, because I have a few ratings for each player. If there's like a big group of players like quarterbacks or running backs, I will go through what each individual thing I have rated. But to start here with our first prospect of the video is Lawrence Hackney. He's coming out here. He's gonna be kind of young. Only kind of young though. He's going to be around 22 years old, and he's one of the best running backs coming into the draft ever. He's very polished, like I said, very polished. We haven't seen a running back like this since Angel Akins coming out into the draft years ago, except he, as in Lawrence Hackney, is a power back. He's extremely elusive and hard to tackle, but due to him being a running back, he might fall. Now, he has a lot of tread still left on the tires. Now, is he going to grow as much as a player? No. But he's going to come in, and he's going to set the league on fire. Now, his one issue, not even just the fact that he's playing running back, is that his receiving skill is less than average. He's going to need to try to grow that in his career. Now, talking about Lawrence Hackney, we need to go and talk about the second best back in this draft. And that is running back Musabi Hunt. Now, he does have a great amount of potential. He is a power back. He has more speed, Hackney. He also is elusive, and he does have some power. Now, his problem is he's younger, he's barely 20, and he is very, very, very raw at running back. Now, the nice part is, whatever team gets him can pretty much mold him into whatever they want. But the big problem is it worth the pick to get Musabi Hunt? Or would it be just more worthwhile to get an elite running back out of the gate, who you might not be able to help much and get better, but he's already a beast on the field? That is a conversation that every team in this draft needs to figure out if they want Hackney or Hunt. That's going to be a big problem here for some of these teams. On to next, the defense. We have Sutherland at CB, Gerrad Sutherland. He is an amazing D-back, and his fellow teammate Corey Mills is also in the draft. Now, the problem with Sutherland is that he took the last year off due to an injury nearing the end of his sophomore year, I believe, so he's still pretty young. He ended up breaking his leg in their final game of the season that year, and he took the whole last year off. Now, he does lack ball skills. As you see, the ball hawk ability is low. I mean, he can play the ball very well, but the ball skills are not good. He tends to drop a lot of picks, but he tends to be where he needs to be to at least knock the ball down. And it's hard to beat him in coverage. He's one of the best cover corners in the draft, and probably the best cover corner in the draft, and he'll probably be one of the best in the league starting out. He's quiet, but he's almost like a silent assassin. When he talks, you listen. He's not overly loud. He's respectful, but you know he's gonna beat you. You know it's gonna be hard to even get past him. He is a solid threat. He's an amazing talent, and like Lawrence Hackney, Sutherland is the most polished defensive back in this draft. And coming out, he'll be top of the charts when it comes to one of the best players at his position. Now, talking about Sutherland, he is going to fall due to him being out for a year. But he is still probably going to be very good in the league. And talking about that, we need to talk about his former teammate in Corey Mills. They have really bad blood due to Mills being kind of held down for a year due to Sutherland's insane coming up in college. And Mills is a talker. So he has the speed. He's almost faster than Sutherland. But he's a very raw talent. He has decent coverage skills, decent ball skills. All he needs to do is combine everything together with footwork, get more polished, and Corey Mills does have a shot to be an amazing talent. The problem is his mouth is bigger than his bite. He tends to get his defenses in trouble because he's very aggressive, which is good in a way because he can play the ball very well, but due to him being in and take over Sunderland's position, do that last year, him and Corey Mills are not actually that cool with each other due to Mills saying a lot of nasty things towards Sutherland. But the question that all the teams are going to have, like in Hunt and Lawrence, is the fact that do you want Mills, who is raw? He's a project CB. Okay, he has the skills. He just needs to be worked on. Or are you going to take the talent that is better? In Sunderland, the problem is Sunderland not tends to have issues, but he has been gone for a year. So you really don't know what you're getting with him. All you see is his last tape, and that's him being an absolute future All-Pro. So what's going to happen? We do not know. But for now, let's get into the next pick that we think is one of the top picks in this draft. We're going to stay on defense and look at Carson Banks from the Discord. He's one of the most polished linebackers to come into the league by far, starting in his first season. And as you see, he's probably one of the best players in the draft as well. He's a special talent with amazing tackling skills. He's good at stuffing the run. He can play zone. He can cover a little bit. He's not great at that, but he's an amazing leader. Like how Sunderland at DB is an amazing leader. People like to follow him, and same thing with Banks. Carson Banks is a leader, and whatever team gets him is going to be very lucky to have a guy who can pretty much play any linebacker position and lead his whole entire defense, call all the plays. He is an amazing talent. And let's get into the next one in linebacker slash edge threat, Rashod Ford. He's an extremely fast pass rusher. He has a big mouth and big talent. He could fail in the league due to the lack of strength, but can play linebacker, and he's an especially special athlete on the edge. So if he's playing more of a 3-4 and he's playing at that linebacker position, I mean, he's not going to be great in zone. He's more of a project linebacker and more of a 4-3 D end speed rusher. But if you do put him at linebacker, he's young enough and athletic enough to try to figure out zone coverage and how to play that ball. But if you get him off that edge, whether it's unblocked or if he only has one person on him, he's getting to the quarterback. I would want him to be in a 3-4 due to use that speed a little more. But if he goes to a 4-3 team, that might be scary depending on who else is on that line. Now, Ford is a little bit on the thinner side. He's extremely fast, but his strength is a lot lower, and he does have good potential to become a very good talent in the league, but how far will that speed really take him? Unlike the next man, who is one of the top players in this draft. He's in the top 5 here, and we're going to look at Zach Swenson. He played linebacker in college. He's an amazing, good talent, especially off that edge. Playing linebacker, now he lacks the speed that Rashod Ford has. Instead of having the strength, he uses, the speed. He uses his strength to power defenders back. He is a good talent, especially, I would say he's even better than Rashod Ford, even at that 4-3 position at a speed pass rusher. Zach Swenson has a good, not great, but much better run stuffing ability. He can be moved around due to his height and speed. He can play linebacker, blitzing off that edge. He could play 4-3 defensive end. He could also be put into like a nickel D tackle situation. He has really good pass rushing skills and pass rushing moves, so he can really confuse offensive tackles and offensive linemen in general. He is a awesome player, and he will have a great chance to make a really big impact on this league. And now we're moving to offense. And here on offense, we're doing wide receiver Daniel Turner. He's an amazing deep threat with great route running. Now, in big games, he's lacked that clutch ability, getting open when he needs to, making big plays, being a go-to guy, possession receiver. But he does make every quarterback he plays with look great. He has some of the best route running ever to come out into the league. We have him rated as a 9.6 route running. Insane. He is a good leader. He can get everyone hyped on his team, but as well, he's very consistent. He runs perfect routes, and he has good hands. It's just he tends to drop passes when it needs to most, and he's not like the go-to guy. He's gonna get open almost every time, but he's also, when he doesn't get open, he's not gonna try to make a catch in traffic, which can hurt him sometimes. Now moving on to Marvin Ephram. He is a left tackle, but I would personally put him at right tackle. He is the strongest lineman in the draft, and coming out into the league, he will be one of the strongest linemen in the whole entire league. Now, he lacks pass block footwork and pass blocking ability, but due to his age, he can really work on that. He has amazing potential, probably one of the highest potential ratings in this draft class. Due to that strength and him being very agile, he just doesn't have the footwork to really do pass blocking. But run blocking, he's pancaking people. He is going down the field and wrecking the secondary's butts. He is insane, and Marvin Ephram has a chance to be the best lineman if it wasn't for center Jack Herring. He is the best lineman in this class, and he has the potential to being the best center in the whole entire league starting day one. Now, he'll only be put at a silver, but he has probably the second highest potential due to him having and lacking amazing strength, but he still has good strength. He has good run blocking ability, but his pass blocking ability is like no one else's. He is almost a perfect center, calling out defensive. Herring is a very smart, very high potential player. If it wasn't for him, Marvin Ephram would be picked much higher, but Herring is the consensus first pick in the draft due to his special talents and him being in the league for 20 plus years. And lastly, but not least, we're going to go over the quarterback rankings, which are my favorite rankings to go through. So, at the end of the video, I'm going to post what a key to what all of the ratings mean. But I'm going to start with quarterback here, so we're just going to go through it real quick. So quarterbacks are graded by field general, which shows how he can read coverages, make safe plays, and can control a game. Scrambler, he's more a player, has scrambling ability to run out of the pocket, make his own plays, throw in the run. Pocket ability shows how he can manipulate the pocket with his feet and his eyes, and maybe can't really scramble much, or could, either way, but he's able to use that pocket to his advantage. Strong arm, which is SA. Strong arm is his deep accuracy and his ball velocity down the field. Leadership shows how he can get the whole offense around him and become a great leader when needed. And finally, consistency. Consistency is the key to being a good quarterback due to how many times you have the ball in your hand. Now, moving into our first quarterback to look at here, we have probably one of the most project quarterbacks to ever come out, but he has a good chance of being good, and that is William Fry from YouTube. He was a viewer who watched almost my whole entire series, and he's finally getting his player into the draft. Fry has an amazing arm and is an amazing talent, coming into the league very young. And like I said, he has a giant arm, but he is a project quarterback. We have him as a 6 field general. He has an 8.1 scrambling ability. He has a 5.1 pocket ability, a 9.2 strong arm, a 10 leadership, and a 6 consistency. And we see this due to the fact that he had very up and down games throughout his whole career so far. And he was very clutch in moments. That's why he has a 10 leadership. He was always able to get his team around him. But if he was like to go to the Dragons, who have a very good offense when it comes to letting the quarterback go with a scrambling system, then he would be perfect. But he hasn't really shown the ability to make quick decisions and be able to wait for people to get open, and not even wait for people to get open, but to throw people open too. He's had a really hard time with that, especially in the tape we see so far. But he is the number 1 ranked quarterback due to his throw power, honestly. He can fit it into places that you never knew could be fit in. So, because of that, William Fry could be the number 1 quarterback picked. We're looking at a winner here in Lynn Campbell, quarterback. He won a lot in college, and he's a lot older than Fry. Fry is barely 18, whereas Campbell is 24 years old. He has an 8.2 field general, a 3 scramble ability, an 8 pocket ability, a 6.3 strong arm, a 10 leadership, and a 10 consistency. He was very consistent. Now, he was in an offense that used a lot of West Coast systems, so if he can get into that type of offense, I think he's going to be perfect. He scrambled a little bit, like on play actions, but other than that, he didn't scramble much. They would have moving pockets. They would try to draw some things up for him, but due to his lack of honest athletic ability, he doesn't have the highest throw power. He doesn't even have, he's not fast, but his mind is where it ticks. He's almost like an older Rick Tempest, where when Rick Tempest lost his golden arm, as they say, he really had to use his brain more than anything. Same thing with Cameron Scalone. He never had that amazing arm, and so he really had to read coverages very well and throw people open and like just try to, be perfect. And Campbell was perfect. Now, will it continue? We do not know. But there is a chance that if he gets on a good team, he has an amazing chance at being one of the best quarterbacks, probably a better quarterback than Fry, especially in the short term. And will that get him drafted? We will see. But we have two more quarterbacks on the board, and one of them is shocking, and the other one kind of makes sense. Now we're looking at the next quarterback. He is the one that makes sense. And that is William Anthony from the Discord. He's a late addition. He chose to be in this draft very late. So a lot of people only have a little bit of tape on him, enough to see how he is. But will a team take a chance on him in the draft? I don't think so. But we know how these drafts go. Some crazy things happen. But William Anthony was a big winner in college. He's even older than Campbell at 25 years old. His field general ability, 6. His scramble ability, 6. He has some speed. He can get out of the pocket. He can make some plays. His pocket ability is a 5. His throw power is a 6.3. His strong arm ability, he can get it there. He sure can. But he is not specifically amazing. He has a 10 leadership. He always showed how he can bring his team back, how he can bring his team to, even when they were losing by 50, that he brought them together and they still tried. He's an amazing person. And then consistency is a 6, because he did have a lot of up and down games where, yeah, he had to bring his team back because he would throw 3 picks. Due to him not having amazing throw power. But with Anthony, though, he has a better chance than our 4th quarterback to be taken in the draft, due to the fact that at least teams know who this guy is. Whereas our 4th quarterback does not have any tape on him at all. He was a backup for most of his career in high school to a current bust in the league, and has stayed out for 2 years just training. So no one knows except his physical abilities. And that is J.C. Riley. He is a quarterback / running back / CB. He played that all about 3 years ago in high school. The only time he could get on the field was at CB and at running back. He hated it. He hated how much it hurt his body. He hated everything about it. He wanted to be a quarterback. The problem? Dante McCurley, a quarterback who we now know is one of the biggest busts ever, who was supposed to be the next franchise quarterback and the next face of the league, who just is now busted for the Gladiators. So bad that it sounds like their coach is getting fired and they're looking for a new quarterback. But Dante McCurley stayed at quarterback for most of the time. They had a option type system, so Riley was the backup. And when McCurley left, I should say about 3 years ago, Riley had a shot. The problem, they got a new coach. So then J.C. Riley was then forced to play running back due to his scrambling ability, and he hated it. He ended up, after him playing 2 years at running back, he stopped. Or I guess a year. He stopped. He graduated, and now he's been training. Ever since McCurley's been in the league, he's been training with McCurley. And so all we know is that his field general ability is a question mark. We have no clue. His scramble ability is a 9. What we have seen in practices is that he's able to get away from the edge rushers, and he's probably one of the fastest players to play at quarterback. His pocket ability, we have no clue. Not knowing with real pass rushers if he's able to manipulate the pocket or not. His strong arm ability is an 8.5, which is weird because years ago, It was told that he did not have any throw power, but now he throws with a glove. So due to him being also short, I forgot to mention that, he's only 5'6". So he has small hands, so he needs a glove to throw the ball. His leadership and his consistency, we have no clue, especially because he's been a backup for most of his career, and we have no tape on him. We don't know how he is. Now, with Riley, he's probably going to be undrafted. He might not even be picked up at all. But we need to talk about this because he is an athletic freak, and the fact is that he just put his name out there due to him just having 2 other jobs, and he wanted to see if he could still be drafted. So, other than we have a lot more players, obviously these are just some of the top prospects, and we have a couple other top prospects that we could not fit on this board, like Josh Peterman at linebacker, like Bryson Favors at DN/D tackle. We have some solid players in this draft. This underrated quarterback class can show through some of the most polished positions. But like I said, this is the most polished draft. So, maybe even only one quarterback might be picked. It's going to be a very interesting draft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time with more content. Peace.